You know the feeling. You've got a brilliant idea, maybe even the perfect plan laid out. So why can't you just start? If you've ever felt like the only thing standing in your way is, well, you, then think of this as your personal battle plan.
So let's just ask it straight up. Does this sound familiar? You know exactly what you need to do to get ahead, but you just feel stuck, completely frozen in this loop of delay and self-doubt. It has to be one of the most frustrating feelings in the world.
You know, this quote, it really reframes the whole problem, doesn't it? This isn't about some personal failing. It's a strategic war. And to win a war, you don't need more willpower. What you need is better intelligence on your enemy.
So first things first, we've got to identify who we're up against. We're going to take a look at the psychological forces inside our own heads, the little saboteurs that are basically hardwired into our brains, but, and this is the important part, can be outsmarted if you know what you're doing.
Let's start with the biggest one, the number one saboteur, procrastination. We always think it's about being lazy, right? But it's not. It's actually an emotional response. Your brain sees a boring or stressful task as a threat, and it tries to protect you by making you avoid it. And that little moment of relief you get, that just makes the habit stronger.
And hey, if you feel like you're the only one doing this, you are so not alone. Researcher Dr. Pierce Steele found that a staggering 95% of people admit to procrastinating. It's basically a universal human thing. The only difference is, for an entrepreneur, the stakes are just so much higher.
Okay, so the second internal enemy is actually our brain's survival programming. Think of it like this. Your brain is like Velcro for bad experiences and Teflon for good ones. Now, that was awesome for our ancestors, help them remember which berry was poisonous. But for us, it means that one client saying no can completely overshadow 10 who said yes, and that just kicks off this vicious cycle of gout.
Okay, so now that we've scouted the enemy, it is time to build our defenses. This section is all about forging a proactive warrior mindset, something that can guard the gates of your mind against those daily attacks of delay and doubt.
One of the most powerful pieces of armor you can have is something called cognitive reframing. The actual facts of a situation don't change, but your interpretation of them does. I mean, just feel the shift between the burden of, ugh, I have to do this, to the opportunity of, wow, I get to do this. It's a game changer.
This is all about making your thoughts work for you instead of against you. That question, what if I fail? It just paralyzes you with anxiety. But asking, okay, what is the first step I can take? That immediately shifts your brain into problem-solving mode. You're turning this vague fear into a concrete, actionable challenge.
Now, your armor isn't just mental, it's physical, too. Choice architecture is all about realizing that your environment is a super powerful tool. So instead of wasting all your willpower trying to fight distractions, you just design your surroundings to support your goals automatically.
And this quote from James Clear, who wrote Atomic Habits, it just says it all. Your environment is a system. If you want to stop endlessly scrolling on your phone, just leave it in another room. If you want to make sales calls, have your list open and ready to go before you even start. You're just making the right choice, the easy choice.
All right, now we move from defense to offense. Our armor is in place. Now we need a sharp sword. These are the specific field-tested strategies you can pull out the moment you feel that procrastination's starting to creep in. We're going to arm you with a couple of key weapons here. We'll start with a really practical tactic for tackling those huge projects, and then we'll get into a mindset shift that fundamentally changes how you see every single challenge. Both of them are designed to conquer the exact same enemy, that initial resistance to starting.
For those really big, intimidating projects, the Pomodoro is your best friend. It works because, let's be honest, anyone can do anything for just 25 minutes. It completely shatters the illusion that you need these huge, uninterrupted blocks of time. It turns a marathon project into a series of totally manageable, focused sprints. You can really see the difference in the internal scripts we run, right? The procrastinator's mindset is all reactive and emotional. But the warrior's mindset? It's proactive and strategic. Just notice how it reframes failure. It's not about your identity. It's just data. Feedback that gets you one step closer to victory.
This brings us to one of the biggest myths we absolutely need to bust. We're always told to wait for motivation to strike, like it's lightning or something. But a warrior doesn't wait for the mood to fight. A warrior creates their own momentum.
We have it completely backward. We think we need to feel good to get started. The truth is, we need to get started to feel good. Action creates a small win. That small win releases chemicals in your brain that feel like motivation. And then that feeling fuels more action. It's a loop. The story of Mel Robbins is just a perfect example of this. She was completely trapped by inaction, and she discovered that by just counting backward from 5, she could interrupt that hesitation loop in her brain and force herself to move. She didn't wait to feel like getting up. She used a simple trick to generate that activation energy herself. And the fact that her book about this super simple rule has sold over 1 million copies, well, that tells you just how universal this struggle is and how effective this one little tactic can be. It proves you don't need to feel ready. You just need 5 seconds of courage.
And finally, winning a single battle is great, but the war itself, that's won through long-term discipline. This is all about turning these tactics into sustainable habits so you can make discipline your default state and win the war every single day.
The easiest way to build that discipline is through something called habit stacking. All you do is link a new habit you want to build to an old one you already have. So for example, after I have my morning coffee, I will write down my top 3 priorities. The existing habit becomes the trigger, and over time the new one just feels effortless.
And alongside your to-do list, try keeping a done list. Now, this isn't about ego, it's about hacking your brain's reward system. Every time you acknowledge completing a task, no matter how small, your brain gets a little hit of dopamine. You are literally training your brain to associate pleasure with being productive, and that creates this incredibly powerful positive feedback loop.
You know, the battle against your inner enemy isn't about one big heroic moment. It's a daily practice of choosing a warrior's mindset over a victim's. You've got the intel, you've got the armor, and you've got the weapons. So the only question left is, how are you going to choose to fight?